Fight Club is one of the popular Hollywood movie in the year 1999. A light sleeper office laborer and a nonchalant cleanser producer structure an underground battle club that develops into significantly more. We back out of the webbing of neurons and synapses as the title credits show up, winding up rising up out of a pore on the perspiration-shimmered skin of the hero, our storyteller, Edward Norton, as he peers down the barrel of a firearm that has been stuck in his mouth. The weapon is held by a man named Tyler, Brad Pitt, who checks his watch, counting down to ground zero preceding he inquires as to whether the storyteller has anything to say. The storyteller murmurs through the firearm before it's taken out and says all the more obviously that he can't imagine anything. As Tyler watches out of the great ascent window to the dull city underneath them, the storyteller reviews exactly the way in which he met Tyler prior to halting himself and carrying us to the start of the story. The storyteller lets us know he hasn't rested for a very long time. His occupation as a voyaging item review expert for a vehicle organization doesn't help his sleeping disorder since he should travel frequently, encountering episodes of stream slack notwithstanding the regular pressure of his situation, respecting the little existence of single-serving cleanser and cleanser at each area. In the event that he can't rest, he rides the channels or peruses Fernie, a farce of IKEA, lists buying the following piece of stylistic layout to add to his loft. He's a self-declared slave of commercialization. He goes to his PCP looking for help, yet all the specialist will do is recommend a natural enhancement rather than medications and that the storyteller visit a care group so that testicular malignant growth might be able to see genuine torment. There, the storyteller meets Robert Sway Paulson, meat portion, the enormous moosey and an ex-jock and steroid client who experiences an outrageous instance of gynecomastia because of chemical treatment after his gonads were eliminated. Bounce is very able to embrace the storyteller and help. Stuck between Weave's huge bosoms, the storyteller at last discovers a sense of harmony and starts to sob uncontrollably. The close-to-home delivery permits him to rest and he consequently becomes dependent on help gatherings, delineating his week going to various gatherings and pretending disease. Be that as it may, the presence of a lady named Marla vocalist, Helena Bonham Carter, tosses the storyteller's framework messed up. He perceives her as a traveler, having seen her at different gatherings including testicular malignant growth, and he is upset by her deceives where he can't rest any longer. After one gathering, he stands up to her. She contends that she's doing precisely exact thing he does in jokes that the gatherings are less expensive than a film and there's free espresso. Rather than ratting each other out, they consent to separate the week and trade numbers. In spite of his endeavors, the storyteller's sleep deprivation proceeds. On a trip back from one of his excursions for work, the storyteller meets Tyler Durden. Tyler offers a one-of-a-kind viewpoint on crisis strategy manuals in the plane and they start up an easygoing discussion. Tyler is a cleanser sales rep, in the event that he's not pulling all-nighters as a projectionist and slipping pieces of pornography between reels. The storyteller shows up at the baggage carousel to find that his bag has been seized, in all probability because of a secretive vibration, before he taxis home. Notwithstanding, home, a 15th-story condo, has been impacted into the night by what was speculated to be a flawed gas line lighted by a flash from the cooler. Having no place to go, the storyteller finds Tyler's business card and hits him up. They meet in a parking area behind a bar where Tyler welcomes the storyteller to request to come live with him on one condition, that the storyteller hit Tyler as hard as possible. The storyteller, however baffled, consents and they take part in a clench-hand battle prior to sharing 2 or 3 beverages. The experience is shockingly euphoric and the storyteller and Tyler return to Tyler's run-down house where obviously Tyler is crouching. Tyler and the storyteller participate in additional battles about the next few days and they before long draw in the consideration of other troublemakers. Finding their little battling bunch developing, Tyler lays out a formal battle club in the storm cellar of the bar where they had their most memorable battle. Participation rapidly increments and Tyler and the storyteller design a progression of rules, the initial 2 being you don't discuss battle club. The standards are reliably broken, with individuals welcoming their companions to go along with them. Over and over, Tyler demonstrates his keen, if strange and improper, seize on life. The storyteller gets together with Marla by some coincidence, telling her that he hasn't gone to some other gatherings since he's joined another care group for men as it were. While he actually treats her with gentle disdain, obviously he thinks about her with interest. At the point when she goes too far with Xanax, she calls the storyteller who, burnt out on her meandering aimlessly, puts the telephone down. He finds later that Tyler got the telephone, followed the call to Marla's home, and took her back to the house where they participated in energetic sex, much to the storyteller's nausea. The following morning in the kitchen, Marla finds the storyteller, who is flabbergasted to see her in his home. The storyteller's shock affronts her and she leaves in disdain. After she leaves, Tyler enters the kitchen and blissfully uncovers that he and Marla engaged in sexual relations the prior night. He additionally seriously makes the storyteller guarantee that he won't ever specify Tyler to Marla. That evening, the storyteller joins Tyler while he takes human fat out of the dumpster of a liposuction center. Tyler says that the best fat for making the cleanser he sells comes from people. Back in their kitchen, Tyler tells the storyteller the best way to deliver fat from the fat. Subsequent to making sense of a piece about the historical backdrop of soap making, Tyler establishes a wet kiss on the rear of the storyteller's hand and dumps unadulterated lye on the spot, causing a horrendous substance consume. Tyler won't allow the storyteller to wash the lye off his hand, saying that water will deteriorate the consume, and lets the storyteller know that the consume is a transitional experience. Tyler has consumed his own hand in an indistinguishable manner. Tyler additionally powers the storyteller to acknowledge faithfulness to him and afterward kills the ignite with vinegar. Afterward, when they meet with a beauty care product salesman at a retail chain, the storyteller comments that Tyler's cleanser sells at an exceptionally significant expense. With the storyteller, he holds a school dropout, Jun Kim, at gunpoint and takes steps to kill him in the event that he doesn't seek after his fantasy about turning into a veterinarian. He permits Lou, Peter Iacangelo, the proprietor of the bar where their battle club is held, to thrash him prior to hacking blood all over him and requesting to remain in the cellar. Appalled, Lou concurs. Tyler gives the club individuals a schoolwork task. They will all provoke a total outsider and lose. The storyteller says it's a lot harder undertaking than anybody would naturally suspect. Weed confronts individuals in a midtown square, another part offends a minister. Following a time of days, Marla leaves and Tyler acquaints the storyteller with his most up-to-date side interest. Involving his capable abilities in cleanser making, Tyler has transformed the cellar of the house into a research facility where he utilizes cleanser and different fixings to make explosives. Tyler and the storyteller keep overseeing Battle Club, however this time, at a vastly different recurrence. Getting flack at work, the storyteller at long last faces his chief, Zach Rainier, with information about unacceptable practice and haggles to telecommute with expanded pay to keep his mouth shut. At the point when his manager items and calls security, the storyteller pummels himself seriously so that, when security shows up, they are persuaded to think that the storyteller's supervisor attacked his representative. Tyler in the long run allocates schoolwork to his enlisted people and teaches them about the impairments of commercialization and depending on society and authority figures. He proposes to return to the time where a man's worth relied upon the perspiration on his back and where he just utilized what he really wanted. This way of thinking develops into what Tyler calls venture commotion, and the battling in cellars transforms into devilish destructive incidents and obliteration. Their activities don't be ignored, yet Tyler figures out how to show the lead examiner that the very individuals he's hunting are those that they rely upon: servers, transport drivers, sewer specialists, and that's only the tip of the iceberg. They undermine the police boss with emasculation and the examination is cancelled. The bedraggled house where Tyler and the storyteller reside transforms into pandemonium focal, where each newcomer is put through a thorough time of commencement and preparing and where the most recent plans are incubated. While task pandemonium develops, the storyteller starts to feel increasingly more far off from Tyler and desire sets in, making him venture to such an extreme as to thump and deform one enroll, Jared Leto, since he needed to obliterate something wonderful. As they leave this battle club meeting, Tyler drives the storyteller and two individuals in an enormous Lincoln Town vehicle. In the downpour, Tyler insults the storyteller, idea that he hasn't even started to carry on with his life to his fullest potential. At the point when he permits the vehicle to float into cars moving the opposite direction, Tyler chides the storyteller for being feeble and despicable. Tyler then concedes that he obliterated the storyteller's loft. The storyteller at last yields, Tyler allows the vehicle to float and they hammer head-on into another vehicle. They rise out of the disaster area with Tyler shouting that the storyteller has another everyday routine in light of his experiencing through a brush with death. At the point when Tyler vanishes for some time, the storyteller is left at home with a steadily expanding band of disorder individuals who stare at the TV and giggle at their plugged destructive incidents. At the point when the storyteller requests to find out about their naughtiness, Bounce tells him the first rule of venture disorder is you don't clarify some pressing issues. Later Sway is killed during a messed up damage activity and the storyteller looks to disband the gathering before things gain out of influence. He attempts to find Tyler and finds a rundown of telephone numbers he has of late utilized. The storyteller trails the rundown all around the nation, finding that battle clubs have grown all over the place. At one specific bar, the barkeep tends to the storyteller as Sir, which prompts the storyteller to inquire as to whether he knows him. The barkeep, in the wake of being guaranteed that he's not being put through a test, lets the storyteller know that he is Tyler Durden. In shock, the storyteller gets back to his lodging and calls up Marla, inquiring as to whether they've at any point engaged in sexual relations. However disturbed, Marla affirms their relationship and states that she knows him as Tyler Durden. Marla hangs up and Tyler out of nowhere shows up in the room and defies the storyteller, letting him know he broke his guarantee to not talk about Tyler to Marla. A couple of moments of discussion affirms that they are, for sure, one individual. The storyteller has a sleeping disorder, he can't rest thus, at whatever point he assumes he is, or at irregular pieces of a day, Tyler's persona dominates. The revelation makes the storyteller faint. At the point when he awakens, he finds one more telephone list close to him with brings from everywhere the country. He gets back to his home to find it totally void. However, one notice board yields a showcase of organizers enumerating specific structures inside the monetary locale. He observes that every one has been invaded by individuals from undertaking pandemonium and that Tyler is anticipating obliterating them, accordingly deleting charge card organization records and starting all over again. In a frenzy, the storyteller snatches all the data and reports himself to the nearby police. Notwithstanding, in the wake of telling the auditor all that he knows and being left with two officials, the storyteller finds that the officials are pandemonium individuals and they let him know that they were told by him to take the wads of anybody who impeded venture mayhem, even him. The storyteller figures out how to escape by taking one of the officials' guns and rushes to one of the structures set for destruction. He finds a plain van in the parking structure loaded up with dynamite and endeavors to incapacitate the bomb. Tyler shows up and urges him, however the storyteller effectively incapacitates the bomb. He and Tyler take part in a furious battle which shows up strangely on the observation cameras since the storyteller is just battling himself. The Tyler character wins and reactivates the bomb and the storyteller carries himself to another structure where they can securely watch the obliteration. Back at the initial scene, the storyteller, with the firearm in his mouth, murmurs once more and tells Tyler, "I actually can't imagine anything." Tyler grins and says, "Ah, flashback humor." The storyteller asks that Tyler leave the venture, however Tyler is resolved. He affirms that what he's doing is saving humanity from the persecution of commercialization and pointless extravagances and that there won't need to be any setbacks. Individuals who work in the structures are all disorder individuals, totally mindful of the arrangement. Close to limit, the storyteller comes to understand that anything Tyler does, he can do. He sees Tyler with the firearm in his grasp and understands that it's in his grasp. He puts it up to his own jawline and advises Tyler to pay attention to him. He says that his eyes are open and afterward places the firearm in his mouth and pulls the trigger. The shot shoots out of the side of his jaw and Tyler is killed with a vast injury to the rear of his head. As the storyteller recuperates, individuals from venture disorder show up with snacks and Marla close by. Tyler had recently taught her to be brought to them. Seeing Tyler's injuries, the commotion individuals abandon Marla with him to get a few clinical supplies. Tyler remains with Marla and advises her that everything will be fine as the primary explosion touches off the structure before them. The others on the block before long go with the same pattern and Tyler clasps Marla's hand with his and tells her, "You met me at an extremely peculiar time in my life." They watch as the explosives go off and the structures break down.